Good evening, everyone. If you could get your last pieces of food or drink, we'll be starting in about 4 or 5 minutes. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. If we could take our seats. I used to say if you have cell phones, I'll just say all of you have cell phones, so put them in silent mode. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Dr. Shelton Woods, and I currently serve the university as the acting dean of the Honors College. And on behalf of the entire university and the Boise State Alumni Association, I'd like to welcome everyone to the 44th Annual Top 10 Scholars Awards. For those of you here at Stickle Sky Center, thank you for being with us in person. And for those of you joining us online through live stream, we welcome and thank you as well. The Boise State Alumni Association began the tradition of recognizing these exceptional students at Boise State 44 years ago. The Top 10 Scholars Honor is just one way the university supports and recognizes student success and academic achievement. To be eligible for these prestigious awards, students must have a 3.8 GPA or higher. They are also selected based on their academic performance, excellence in experiential learning, service leadership, and community impact. Students submit nominations to their college dean and college-level selection committee. Committee of faculty from each college then makes the final selections. It's not easy. It's a rigorous process for all involved. Once the students are selected, each scholar also chooses an honorary faculty or staff member who has inspired them during their time at Boise State. This evening, we are excited to welcome back our former Top 10 scholars and their honored faculty as we induct our new 2026 class of scholars. And we'd like to take a moment and recognize any previous Top 10 scholars and honored staff and faculty in the audience. We invite you to stand or wave to be recognized. To this year's honorees, you are joining a tremendous legacy. As you craft and discover continued success on your journey, please remember to keep engaged with your alma mater. As members of the class of 2026, you will soon be one of the many bold, that is, Broncos of the last decade alumni. Wherever you find yourself, staying connected is key. Explore the array of events and opportunities to connect with fellow proud and loyal alumni in your region. The Boise State Alumni Association stands ready to facilitate ongoing engagement, ensuring a seamless connection back to your alma mater. Please remember, we're all here to support you and celebrate your successes over the long term. We can't wait to see what great things are next in store for you. But first, tonight, we celebrate your outstanding accomplishments so far. Congratulations. We are about to hear from some of the best and brightest Boise State University has to offer. But before we do, I want to set the stage a bit for who they are. The scholars tonight will speak of things that mean the most to them: their families, their friends, their support systems, their honored faculty and staff, their campus community, their experiences in classrooms, in labs, on the gymnastics mat, in residence halls and clubs and organizations, on the seashore halfway across the globe, and even in both a literal and figurative sense among the stars. They've worked across campus and across borders to learn about and truly see the humanity and the humans behind policies and politics. A theme you'll notice tonight is one of courage, though I suspect the scholars themselves might not describe themselves as particularly courageous. And yet each of them, in their own way, talks about the courage it takes not to succeed or to fail, but to take a big, bold risk in the first place. Not just an academic risk, but a genuine leap of faith in oneself and who we might become if, as one of them says, we choose to prioritize growth over safety. I'd like to take a moment and acknowledge not just the top 10 scholars, but also the guests at their tables who have supported this growth. Friends, family, faculty, staff, mentors, coaches, and others. You have created a circle of support around your scholar. You too deserve recognition for your belief in these students and the quiet, steadfast encouragement you've provided. Thank you for helping them become their best selves in ways even they perhaps never thought possible. Thank you. Much of what is being recognized this evening is based in the brilliance of the mind, significant academic discovery, intellectual curiosity, the asking of questions when the answer is unknown, the pursuit of knowledge for its own sake. Yet tonight, we recognize not only academic achievement, but also what it means, in the words of one of them, to pursue what it means to live life to the fullest. These scholars have explored their worlds with both intellect and heart. They will speak of learning that we are who we are because of the people who love us, as well as how to love and be loved. In exploring meaningful lives with their brilliant hearts and minds, they tapped deeply into the Boise State community for support along the way. And in doing so, they showed us all what it is to really be a Bronco: courage and trust in the potential of ourselves and others, faith in one's ability to learn and grow, support during times of struggle, encouragement during times of frustration, love amidst the most challenging circumstances. They have shown us the best of themselves. They have shown us the best of what can happen when someone full of promise is believed in and supported. But perhaps most importantly, they have shown us all the highest forms of excellence we can collaboratively create when we come together and believe in one another. Thank you, scholars, for that precious gift. We thank you for it, and we celebrate it and you tonight. And without further ado, we'll now hear from Interim President Jeremiah Shin to share some remarks on behalf of the university.
Well, good evening. Tonight is a celebration of the hard work, the resilience, and the creativity of our top 10 scholars. Boise State has a long history of recognizing our most outstanding graduates, and today these soon-to-be graduates join that special few. This is one of my favorite annual events. During my time at Boise State, I've had the privilege of hearing from more than 100 top 10 scholars. Each honoree tells a very different story, stories of challenged faith, discoveries made, and dreams pursued. Each one reflects on a Boise State experience uniquely their own. Each one imagines a future shaped by what they learned on this campus. And most stories, there's one constant that shines through: a deep appreciation for the faculty who invested in them, challenged them, and believed in them, often pushing them exactly when they didn't want to be pushed, but when they needed it the most. Their dedication has shaped our university, and our top 10 scholars are proof of the efforts of our faculty. Let's give them a round of applause. This university continues to grow and evolve through efforts like Unbridled, the campaign for Boise State University. We're investing in faculty, in opportunity, and in future generations of students who will one day be recognized as top 10 scholars. Boise State is a rocket ship, the rare university that is still becoming what it's going to become. And I truly believe that its best days are ahead. And honorees, so are yours. As you step into your next chapter, I hope you carry forward the same optimism and determination that brought you here tonight. The world you're entering needs your creativity, your resilience, your kindness, and your commitment. We will be watching with pride as you begin to shape your professions, your communities, and your future. Remember, this weekend, you're not leaving Boise State, you're expanding it. You join a network of more than 180,000 living graduates and an alumni association that will always welcome you with open arms. Stay connected, be engaged, and continue to represent what it means to be a Bronco. We are honored to celebrate you today, and we cannot wait to see what you accomplish. Friends, please join me in applauding these amazing students.
So I first got a chance to meet Leah in one of my classes. She enrolled in my Global Studies 201 class in spring of 2023. So that was a class about regions and globalization and a core course of the Global Studies program. I could tell that she was always thinking and evaluating the course itself and the materials and whatnot, but then she would always contribute when she had like a really good thought. I love when she would send me an email, because I know that when she sent me an email, she was going to be doing something amazing that would make me so happy to hear that she either achieved, or maybe it's a leap of faith that she took and applied for a program or an opportunity. When you look at her academic journey, it's so varied, and I think that that's something that I very much admire of her, that she's a very courageous person, a very brave student. I'm very lucky to have been part of her academic journey. I think that she represents the best of us, trying to just live things a little bit better than the way that she found them. It all stems from a place of kindness, and I think that that's one thing that I'm very happy for, and I definitely had to thank her, like I said, for letting me just be a small part of her academic journey, and I'm very lucky to have met her, and also just letting me help whenever I can.
I'm a middle child of 6, so I'm never one for going first, but here we are. Last week, I had a professor ask me why I think I got this award, and honestly, I was speechless. I had no idea. I'm not the smartest in the room. I honestly don't even know my lefts from my rights. I'm not the most dedicated student. I've done my fair share of college parties before exams. And I'm not the most involved. I was never one for ASBSU or Greek life. So what could have possibly made them pause at my name? If I were to guess, I think it's my ability to live life to the fullest. Throughout the time in college, I took several philosophy classes, engaged in deep discussions with peers, escaped to the mountains for solo camping trips, and traveled around the world in pursuit of what it means to live life to the fullest. As life often does, the answer to my biggest question came in the simplest time of my life. In the summer of 2024, I had the opportunity to live in a Greek island, the island of Lesbos, and serve 10 hours a day a month in a refugee camp. In the evening of my day off, I ventured off into the ocean. And as I sat there reflecting and watching the refugee camp off in the distance, a local older lady by the name of Sarah slowly made her way out in the ocean to me. As we soaked in the sea, we talked about life, faith, our purpose and passions, and I was reminded of a story that has been a very pivotal part of my life. Before I start this story, I know a lot of you haven't seen the beach probably in a while, so I want you to take a second and imagine a beach, imagine an ocean. This is a story about a little wave, bobbing along in the ocean, having a grand old time. He's enjoying the wind and the fresh air until he notices the other waves in front of him, crashing against the shore. "My God, this is terrible," the wave says. "Look what's gonna happen to me." And then comes another wave and sees the first wave looking grim and says to him, "Why do you look so sad?" The first wave says, "You don't understand. We're all gonna crash. All of us are gonna be nothing. Isn't it terrible?" The second wave says, "No, you don't understand. You're not a wave. You're a part of an ocean." And that's it right there. How I live my life to the fullest is because I focus on not being a wave, but being an ocean, a part of an ocean. As I'm recognized here today, I realize that this award is not for me, but for the ocean of people around me. This award belongs to the Lord and Savior Jesus for being the ocean and the eternal story that he's graciously allowed me to be a part of. I'm beyond blessed to be living in this chapter of his story, his holy story of redemption. This award belongs to my siblings for their never-ending support, my sisters for their comfort, my brothers for their wisdom. This award belongs to Boise State University that has made my dreams come true time and time again. For the opportunities to challenge myself in pursuit of a major, a minor, and 2 certificates. This award belongs to the Honors College for their financial support over the years, to Kate and the Greater Honors staff for their support in pursuing a Fulbright scholarship. This award belongs to the Study Abroad Office for their support while I studied in Australia. This award belongs to Nico Diaz for his continued mentorship and support over the past 4 years. This award belongs to friends that have made me laugh and cherish my time in college. This award belongs to Sarah from Greece, who reminded me of the humble life overflowing in joy and kindness. This award belongs to the taxi driver in Indonesia who saved my life on my backpacking trip. You should ask my mom about that story later. She loves telling people that her trusting daughter got in truck beds and boats of random Indonesian men. This award belongs to Eurorelief for helping me find passion for refugee care and humanitarian aid. Lastly, this award belongs to my parents for their never-ending support, for their patience with me and their deep love for our family, for the beautiful chaos they have created and nurtured over the years. I am beyond blessed to be the wave in the ocean of God's love and for the community that he has graciously bestowed upon me. Thank you for this recognition today, but please know, I am not a wave, I am a part of an ocean. Thank you.
Befitting of a top 10 scholar, Emily has a resume a mile long. She's completed prestigious government internships. She was the only public policy student at a national student engineering delegation in Washington, D.C. this last fall. There's so much that I could mention about her, but the accolades aren't the first thing I would mention, honestly. Top 10 scholars exemplify the very best of this university, and Emily exemplifies just that. She is a student from Idaho who came to Boise State to better herself and the world around her. And she has set to that work with gusto. She does everything she can to improve the lives of the students and the people around her. She is optimistic and cheerful and relentless in the work. She's constantly asking how we can do better, what we can do better, and not for efficiency's sake, but to truly better the lives of others. Emily, your path here has not been without its challenges. Yet through adversity, you have developed this wonderfully optimistic way of looking at the world and its problems. I've learned so much from you in the way you look for possibility and always ask, why not? I'm so excited to see how you will change and improve the public sector and serve people in the future.
First and foremost, thank you to my parents, family, and friends who believed in me on the days when I struggled to believe in myself. To my parents especially, thank you for every sacrifice that gave me the opportunity to pursue my dreams. You taught me that hard work is love in action, and that a meaningful life is one spent serving others. Everything that I achieve stands on the foundation that you have built for me. Also, a special shout out to my sister, who probably traveled the farthest to be here, all the way from Costa Rica. When I started college, I was paralyzed by the fear of failure. I was so convinced that I was not good enough that I nearly let fear keep me from applying to the honors college. Because of that fear, I often chose paths that felt safe. I believed that if I did not take any risk, then I would not lose anything. My time at Boise State has changed that mindset entirely, teaching me that by risking nothing, I was losing the chance to grow. I came to realize that the value of an education is not found in a list of accomplishments, but in the growth that happens when we push beyond our self-imposed limits. Feeling stuck in a cycle of doubt, I began to ask myself, how can I expect others to recognize my value if I do not see it within myself first? I realized that many of the people I admired were not fearless or fundamentally different from me. They simply chose to not let fear or discomfort determine what they were capable of becoming. That lesson did not come all at once. It came through my mentors who are here today. They taught me to prioritize growth over safety and to make the most out of my college experience. Dr. Stuart Gardner gave me some of the best advice I received in college when he said that a university education is entirely what you make of it. He reminded me that growth requires the willingness to push ourselves further than we think possible, and that we always have a choice in how we respond to challenges. Dr. Amy Mayton taught me that a person's value is more than just their title, but can be found within their character. She showed me that who I am today and what I value are enough, and that I do not need to compare my path to others. And finally, I'm incredibly grateful for Emily Jones, who, while I served as a peer mentor for Osprey House in the Honors College, remind us all something powerful, that when we dare to step outside our comfort zone, even in small ways, that is where the magic begins. Because of people like them, I stopped waiting for permission to believe in myself and began pursuing opportunities that once felt beyond my reach. Boise State, and especially the School of Public Service, continually opened doors that made those experiences possible. I joined a nuclear engineering research team, participated in the Capital Connection program, and interned in the United States Senate, and returned to Washington, D.C. to represent Boise State for the nuclear engineering student delegation. In spaces where I once doubted whether I belonged, I came to realize that my perspective still has value, even in rooms I once thought were not meant for me. Those experiences showed me that the most difficult issues in society cannot be solved by one discipline or perspective alone. They require people willing to bridge the gaps between policy, technology, innovation, and responsibility. This is why I'm committed to a career in energy law and public service. I have learned that when we bring different perspectives into a room, we do not just grow as individuals, we create stronger, more effective outcomes for the communities we serve. Boise State gave me far more than education. It gave me the confidence to grow, the courage to contribute, and the belief that I belong in rooms I once thought were beyond me. For that, I will always be grateful. Thank you, and go Broncos.
I first met Allie 4 years ago when she was a high school student. When I met her, she was a senior in high school, very composed, clearly someone who understood the opportunity that the speech and debate team would provide to her. There's a quietness about her, but underneath that is a very self-assured person with a pretty sly, arch sense of humor. And I think that that's sort of a feature of someone who really knows who they are, because those are people that don't react to the world. Those are people who engage with the world. She's a person who is ambitious, but also has the ability and confidence to execute on her ambitions. There are students that will have big ideas, but will not have the attention to detail and the awareness and sensitivity to the larger scope of vision that Allie has. She has been able to bring incredible things to life at Boise State through, sheer power of will and attention to detail and execution of vision. She is not afraid to give herself authority over a situation, to be one of the best leaders we've had on the Talkin' Broncos. She's been president for 2 years. She constantly amazes me with her attention and sensitivity to things that matter. I just think that she's an extraordinary person and that she should be very proud of herself, because she is her own person and never falters or compromises through anything that she does.
Hi. It's hard for me to begin to talk about my experience at Boise State without immediately talking about my honored faculty member, Dr. Amanda Hicks. As director of the Boise State Talkin' Broncos speech and debate team, she was the first faculty member I talked to while I was in high school, before even setting foot in a class here. My experience at Boise State has been a lot more than just being a Talkin' Bronco, but all of it has been shaped by being one. My experience would have been radically different if Amanda Hicks had never told me that the stories we tell about ourselves are often untrue. What I mean by this is that all the stories I've told about myself, that my brain struggles to learn STEM, that I don't want to be involved on campus, and that I work best at the last minute, are untrue. They are made up. They are narratives about a person that I think I am. Instead, I can tell myself a different story. Everyone's brain can learn whatever they want. I am comically involved on this campus. And I do my best work always, whenever I want. Amanda Hicks taught me to be a better learner by inviting me to see myself as capable, confident, and prepared. Thank you. Without this strength and confidence, I wouldn't have taken on my environmental studies minor, which is now integral to the future that I want. Telling myself a new story is what inspired me to submit an essay about my mom, about me, and about science to the Cabin Writers in the Attic anthology. Telling myself a new story was what inspired me to constantly ask Boise State to tell new stories, from highlighting creative work at this year's undergraduate research showcase or uplifting student voices about the use of artificial intelligence in their education. But that wasn't the only Amandaism that has shaped me. Dr. Amanda Hicks also taught me that college isn't about classes. It's about what you make outside of them. That sentence is pretty much why I'm a top 10 scholar, point blank. But it's also why I want to take the time to thank Dr. Amy Ariano, Dr. Rachel Silverman, Dr. Kelly Arispe, Dr. Seth Ashley, Carissa Wilcox, Dr. Samantha Harvey, Brianna Ribeiro, and Brittany Arts for giving me their time, their support, and their yes to everything I wanted to make outside of my classes. And finally, I want to take some time to thank my friends, my girlfriend, and my family. Thank you to my parents for valuing education nearly and dearly, and for bringing me to this campus on a Greenbelt ride in 2010. My friend Adam once said, being friends with Allie Hampton adds a lot to your resume, which is to say that my friends show up for me in every possible way. They are a part of every single thing that I do, whether it's actually doing it with me or being my cheerleader. They give me their time, their kindness, and their patience. Thank you to Adam, Jackson, Bridget, and Sophie, as well as the 16 Broncos I have had the sincere pleasure of talking with. My goodbye to Boise State is not really a goodbye. You will see me next fall in the Masters of Environmental Management program here. But my goodbye to my undergraduate experience is beautiful and difficult. The best thing Boise State has given me is permission to do whatever I want. From crafting my own degree to letting me debate for my final capstone, the institutions at Boise State have given me freedom and respect. That's why I've chosen to come back here and continue education. As I do, I want to carry the permission to craft my own pathway and the permission to tell myself a new story wherever I go. Thank you.
I first met Addie in August of 2022 at the department picnic. I was impressed that even as a brand new student, she had poise and confidence. She would talk to people, she would talk to other students, she would talk to the professors. She was clearly very smart, but also very much interested in connecting with people. It's rare to find a student that balances strength and dedication to research with leadership with other students and at the university. To me, she is a model of what we strive for at Boise State, of a well-rounded student, of someone who does the academics, does the leadership, and lifts up her fellow students. I'm just really looking forward to see what she does in the future. I think it'll be really good. Addie, I'm proud of your research and your academic accomplishments, but I'm also very proud of the way that you have made our department more inclusive to underrepresented groups, that you've reached out to the community and the STEM outreach events that you've done, and that you've shown that the model of a scientist is not just someone who's doing outstanding research in the lab, but someone who cares about their community and helps lift up others.
Okay, first I want to say thank you to all of those who have supported me along the way. In about 40 hours, I will walk across the stage and conclude my 4-year-long odyssey. Here on the eve of graduation, I look back at my undergrad and realize that my story at Boise State didn't actually start 4 years ago. My first experience with Boise State University was not as a freshman in college or even a freshman in high school, but as an 8th grader. In 2018, I tagged along to my brother's attendance of Bronco Day. Having already seen everything that he was interested in seeing, my brother and my dad asked if I was interested in visiting any departments. Being the nerd that I am, my first choice was touring the physics department. There are 2 labs that I remember. The first was a laser lab run by a man with a Russian accent, and the second was a lab using physics in cancer research run by a man with a Romanian accent. It would be 4 years later that I would work in the biophysics membrane lab with Dr. Daniel Filogia and would take electromagnetism classes with Dimitri Tene. At Boise State, I have found multiple homes away from home. The physics department was my first. In my first week of freshman year, I met Dr. Hannya, not at the picnic. As the chair of our department, his signature was needed on my registrar form, and as a scared 18-year-old, I felt like I was going to the principal's office. The fear quickly melted away when one of the first things he asked me was, "Do you like ice cream?" Since that day, not only have I had a go-to ice cream spot it's become a tradition with me and my dad every time he comes in town to work, but Dr. Hannya has greeted me by name every time that we've crossed paths. As somebody who moved to Boise not knowing anyone, this simple gesture showed me that I was not just a student number on a list. Over the last 4 years, these simple greetings have evolved into mentorship on topics such as helping connect students in the department, advice on graduate school and my future career, as well as just general check-ins during stressful times. I've had many mentors in my time at Boise State, but Dr. Hannya has been there since the beginning. So thank you for being a great mentor and a teacher to me and my friends. Another home away from home has been in housing and residence life. I've worked as a resident assistant for the last 3 years. Between on-call shifts that woke me up at 4 a.m. and monthly event planning that pushed the boundaries of my creativity, I found a place where support systems are built. For many students, college means moving away from home for the first time. Not only are you in a new place, but you're surrounded by strangers. It's not uncommon for students to feel lost, both physically and emotionally, in their first semester. And as an RA, I give class tours, and I act as a guide when students are in need of help. At the end of the day, one person who listens can be the difference between dropping out and graduating. Some of my people who listen have been the resident directors who oversee the teams that I've been on. They recognize the importance of balance and encourage me to take time to check in on myself. Without the support that I found in the housing and residence life, my college experience would have been much harder. Amid RA responsibilities and physics classes, I took the time to explore my major through outreach and research. It was during this process that I found my 2 academic loves, interdisciplinary research and community engagement. Now, I don't know if you know this, but science is very cool. There are so many big questions that have yet to be answered, and just as modern scientists stand on the shoulders of those that came before them, we too must provide opportunities for future generations to see further. Through programs like Boise State's Astrotech Astronomy Outreach, we can ignite a passion for discovery and show people of all ages that they have a place in science. Now, as I continue my education in graduate school at the University of British Columbia, I hope to continue to bring science out into the community. Through interdisciplinary research, I can show the general public how physics affects their lives. I'm interested in researching planetary structures and how they affect their magnetospheres. While the magnetic shield that protects other planets doesn't seem very relevant to our everyday life, a better understanding of these physical processes teaches us more about our own planet. And it helps us to prepare for space weather, which causes blackouts from solar flares and all of that kind of stuff. While my time at Boise State will soon be over, the knowledge, skills, and friendships that I've cultivated here will stay with me throughout my entire life. I'm excited to take my next steps as a Boise State graduate, and I feel prepared to start my next leg of my journey. Thank you.
I first met Sydney last spring when she was appointed as a representative for the student subcommittee of the presidential search. From the minute that I met Sydney, I was impressed with her enthusiasm, her willingness to dive in right away, and just who she was as a person and how people reacted to her was immediately notable to me. First of all, Sydney's an elite athlete in addition to being an elite student. That's enough, but she puts in the time. She puts in the time with her teammates. She puts in the time with her community. She goes above and beyond just out of a sense of duty. And I think that's really special. The top 10 scholars it's about more than academics. It's about more than what you do outside the classroom. It's the total package. And Sydney is absolutely the total package. Her academics are well documented, but who she is as a person, when you talk to her teammates, and I have talked to her teammates about her, when you talk to her teammates, you really get a sense of who she is. She is exactly the kind of student that Boise State University wants to put into the world. She's kind, she's hardworking, she shows up for people. I'm most proud of how she brings people in and makes people feel at ease. She's a special person, a really, really special person. I'm so glad that she's a Bronco. Boise State University is better because Sydney was a student here. She's made an impact on this university, and I'm so proud to know her.
Well, thank you, Dr. Shin, for nearly making me cry already. To start off, the happiest day of my life was committing to Boise State University to be a walk-on for the gymnastics team. It wasn't just a decision, it was the culmination of years of early mornings, injuries, and an unwavering belief in a dream. For some, Boise State was many options to pursue for college. For me, it was the dream. In choosing Boise State, I wasn't just choosing a university, I was choosing to bet on myself. I was once asked by Dr. Woods in an honors college class, what do you think your life would look like if you weren't a gymnast? I remember sitting there completely baffled. As a woman of many words, I shockingly had no answer. How could I? Gymnastics has never been something I just did. It was who I was. Every decision I made, including coming to Boise State, was shaped by this sport that had been all-consuming. In all honesty, there is no version of my life that exists without gymnastics. It gave me my purpose, my community, and ultimately led me here. My Boise State experience would not have been the same without it. While I may no longer identify as a gymnast, the sport will always be the foundation of who I am. The discipline, resilience, and belief it instilled in me are things I will carry into every chapter that follows. Beyond athletics, the past 4 years have been filled with many yeses. Yes to research, yes to student government, yes to summer jobs, yes to internships, and in saying yes to those opportunities, I discovered a version of myself that existed beyond the sport I once thought defined me. Boise State gave me gymnastics, but it also gave me the space to grow beyond it, to discover new passions and become someone more multidimensional than I ever had imagined. Some of you in this room may be familiar with my weekly tradition of Thankful Thursday that I started senior year of high school, and fittingly, today's ceremony falls on my final Thankful Thursday as an undergraduate. So today, more than ever, I am thankful for Boise State and for the people who made this place far more than just a university to me. To Dr. Shin, thank you for sparking my interest in student government and for mentoring me in leadership. You lead with confidence and charisma, and I'm so grateful for the impact that you've had not only on me, but on this university. Your presence will truly be missed. To the athletic department and support staff, thank you for your commitment to my student-athlete experience far beyond the competition floor. Over the past 4 years, your support has helped me grow not only as an athlete, but as a person. Thank you for seeing us as more than athletes and for making this experience so meaningful. To my coaches, thank you for seeing something in me and giving me the opportunity to become a Bronco. Thank you for believing in my potential, for pushing me beyond what I thought I was capable of, and for teaching me how to carry myself through both success and setback. You have shaped not only the athlete I became, but also the woman I am today. To my teammates, especially the girls in my senior class, who have become my sisters, there's something incredibly special about the people who witness your highest highs and lowest lows and yet choose to stand beside you through all of it. Thank you for being my teammates, my best friends, my support system, and my family away from home. Thank you to Tina for choosing my best friends. She did a very good job. The bond we share is one of the greatest of gifts I've been given by Boise State, and I will cherish every moment that we've made together. And this is where the tears are gonna start. And most importantly, to my family. None of this would have been possible without you. I'd like to share a part of my This I Believe essay I wrote my freshman year for the Honors College. I wrote, my parents are people I wish to be, each unique in their own ways. Not only do I find myself wanting to be like them, but also what they have, which is love. Our family works in such a way that we all push each other to do our best and learn throughout the process. Learning how to love and be loved is an aspect of my family that is fundamental to who we are and what we cherish. I believe that I am lucky to have my family in my life. They have provided me with so much love and rewarded me with a lifetime of happiness through the moments we have shared together. I believe in everything that they stand for as individuals and us as a whole. I believe that without them, I would not be the kind of person I am today, and I would not be standing up here without them. I believe in them. I believe in my family. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for all your sacrifice, including flying to every single one of my gymnastics meets as a collegiate gymnast. I love you. Sorry, almost there. Now, the big question in college athletics, especially here at Boise State, is always hashtag what's next. For me, I hope to pursue my passion for medicine and attend medical school. Not long ago, I was simply a young girl who dreamed of becoming a collegiate gymnast, hoping that dream would come true. Now, as this chapter comes to a close, I find myself in a very familiar position, standing at the edge of something new, trusting in where God will take me next as I pursue my dream of becoming a pediatric orthopedic surgeon. When I look back on my time here, I will remember the accomplishments and the accolades, but what I will treasure the most are the people. Because Boise State gave me more than an education, more than an athletic career, it gave me family, it gave me lifelong friendships, it gave me mentors, it gave me a home. And for that, on this final Thankful Thursday, I am endlessly grateful. Thank you, and as always, go Broncos.
Ethan is in my financial markets and institutions class. I set up at the top left. He's always paying attention. I admire his intellectual kind of curiosity and his ability to handle a lot of different things. The research that we did is he had to reach out to a lot of community banks and credit unions, and data went in finance, at least, and probably everywhere. But one of the most difficult parts of doing research is collecting the data and getting good data. And then I told him, this is going to be a lot of work, and it's probably going to be messier than you would like it to be, more time consuming and difficult. And he didn't bat an eye and said, this is what I want to do. And that speaks to Ethan and his ability to communicate with people. I'm most proud of Ethan for his work ethic. His ability to grind, that just speaks to his desire and ability to work hard. And he's going to be real successful in life, whatever he decides to do. I appreciate his willingness to get involved and give back. His ability or his willingness to spend time doing things that are impactful and meaningful to the university, the state, his ability to just juggle everything is pretty impressive to me. He's a great kid.
Thank you for the kind words. Good evening, everybody. First, I just want to start off with a few thank yous. First, to God for his consistent support and guidance throughout this journey. To my family for believing in me and giving me the chance and the opportunity to come this far from home to chase my dreams. To my professors, faculty, staff, and mentors, thank you for challenging me, supporting me, and helping me grow during my time at Boise State. To the Student Involvement and Leadership Center staff, thank you for your mentorship and guidance during my 4 years. I apologize for all the printing and headaches. Kobe Career Services, thank you for helping me build my confidence and sharpen my interviewing skills. I probably would have not landed a job without you. To Isaac Seldon, ASPSU President, thank you for always being there for me when no one else fully understood. Your support meant more than you know. To my ASPSU executive team, thank you for pushing me, supporting me, and helping me develop the way I think and problem solve. To my fraternity, thank you for always believing in me and also never letting me forget that I'm a nerd. To my roommates, Nate, Spencer, Adam, and Austin, thank you for being there for me after long days, listening to me rant and reminding me that I'm never home. To the dining hall and Chipotle, thank you for fueling me these past 4 years. Couldn't have done it without you. And to the rec center, thank you for keeping me sane. As I reflect on the past few years, it's been a truly transformative experience. But if I'm being honest, a few years ago, if you had told me I was standing before you as a top 10 scholar, I wouldn't have believed you. When I graduated high school, I was ranked 167th out of 250 students. I wasn't valedictorian. I wasn't class president. I didn't have a long list of scholarships or Ivy acceptance letters. I was just a number. I remember sitting in that crowd at graduation, watching my friends walk across the stage, one as class president, another as valedictorian, and I couldn't help that I'd already been left behind. After the ceremony, I asked one of them what it felt like to be up there. I expected him to say it was everything, but he didn't. He talked about the pressure, the sleepless nights, the expectations, the sacrifices. I didn't believe him because from where I was sitting from, it looked perfect. So I came to Boise State with that same mindset. I doubted myself before I even gave myself a chance. I turned down the honors college. I hesitated on opportunities like the Finish in 4 program, told myself that's not me, because in my head, I was still just a number. But everything started to change during my freshman year. Not all at once, but through small moments and through advice from people who saw more in me than I saw in myself. Today, I'm going to share 5 pieces of advice that reshaped my life and changed me into the man I am today. First piece of advice came from my grandpa. Treat school like a 9 to 5. And I'll be honest, at first, that did not happen. It looked more like noon to 6, Monday through Thursday. I was just adjusting from getting away from home for the first time. The dormitories are fun. Now, in my final semester, it looks more like 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., 6 days a week. That advice taught me discipline, and that effort compounds. So thank you for that. Second piece of advice came during my pledge process when I was introduced to a line from Robert Frost. It goes like this: 2 roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Kappa Sigma taught me what that actually meant, to not settle for status quo and to choose ambition, even when it's uncomfortable. The third piece of advice came during my sophomore year from Corey Conchetti. You can only be truly great at 2 things. Everything else you're going to be mediocre at. That forced me to make hard choices because you can't do everything. And if you try to, you spread yourself too thin and become ineffective. So I had to decide what actually mattered to me and commit to it. The fourth lesson came from fellow top 10 scholar, Nicholas Lloyd. The idea of momentum, that if you keep showing up, keep working, and keep pushing forward, doors will open that you could never have planned for. And they did. But more importantly, I was ready when they did because of the habits and discipline I built along the way. And the final piece of advice came from my father. Have fun. God, I won't cry. Because if you ask my dad about high school me, he probably wouldn't have believed I'd be standing here a top 10 scholar. He would talk about the kindergarten me refusing to write my ABCs. If you have seen my penmanship, you know I should have tried harder on those. Now he's the one telling me to relax a little. Maybe go be a normal college student for once. And honestly, sometimes I wish I did. What brings me back to that question I asked years ago, was it worth it? My answer is yes and no. Yes, because of the growth, the lessons, the people who shaped me into who I am today, but also no, because of the sacrifices, the late nights, the missed moments, the friendships that faded, the people I lost, the times I could have been sitting in my room playing 2K with my friends on a random weeknight, just being a normal college student. Sometimes I wish I had that. But at the same time, I wouldn't trade this journey for anything because of the confidence I've gained is far more valuable. Confidence, purpose, and the belief that what you are today does not limit who you can become tomorrow. So if there's one thing I hope you take away from my story, it's this. You are not your starting point. You are not your GPA. You are not your rank. You are your choices. And when you choose to bet on yourself, anything can change. Thank you and have a good night.
To meet Maci is to meet a soul who is in persistent practice of freedom. For Maci, liberation is beyond just being in classroom and reading. For her, it's an everyday act that is shaped by curiosity. She leans heavily on the humanities and social sciences knowledges, transgressing boundaries, to build curiosity, to really ask the important questions that many shy away from. What I admire about Maci is her expansive eagerness towards learning that transgress boundaries, allowing her to connect her local roots to global powers. She wants to live her life very bravely, that is informed through a curiosity shaped by her learning. What makes Maci particularly worthy of this esteemed award is her work with the communities. She is deeply embedded in the daily practices of community members. What I'm deeply proud of about Maci is the way she moves through life. She's very kind and caring and absolutely brave. Her courage shows through her deep desire in wanting to learn critical ideas in classrooms, pushing through the different boundaries of education, and really taking on hard questions of what it means to be a community engaged researcher. Her everyday act is an act of courage, the courage that is truly needed in creating a beautiful world.
We haven't watched those yet, so I'm already crying, so that's awesome. Over the last 3 years, when I'm asked what my major is, and I reply, ethnic studies with a minor in refugee studies, I've often been met with confused looks and these responses. What is that? Is there money in that? And how can you make a career out of that? So today I would like to explain a few of my whys. It is the gardener from the Democratic Republic of Congo offering me freshly harvested fruits and vegetables from his garden here in Boise, teaching me when the tomatoes are ready, just ripe enough, teaching me how worm castings enrich the ground and how he offers that knowledge to people at the weekly market. It is also studying abroad in the Basque region of Spain and learning about the history of Basque immigration, learning about the herders who traveled across the Atlantic and eventually made their way to Idaho, and about the Basque women who ran community houses here in Idaho, creating spaces of community and culture far from home. It is also learning from Afghan community leaders here in Boise, navigating community leadership, adaptability, and care. It is also interning at an immigration law firm here in Boise, which was one of the hardest and most beautiful things I've ever done, witnessing just how many hoops people must jump through in order to reach stability in this country. The paperwork, the waiting, the language, the unknowns. It taught me that immigration is not only about movement across international lines, but about navigating processes that are often incredibly difficult to understand and often intentionally so. I have also learned and grown an indescribable amount through my work at the College of Western Idaho, working alongside students in Idaho, most from refugee and immigrant backgrounds. Studying ethnic and refugee studies has taught me that migration is not just policy or paperwork, it is people. It is neighbors, teachers, artists, leaders, mentors, families, and friends. And it has taught me that understanding each other's histories and experiences is not a niche interest, it is essential. Oh no. My first class on my first day at Boise State was with Dr. Chaco, and I argue that we have been 2 peas in a pod from that time on. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to her, who has never one moment made me believe that I couldn't dream anything I wanted to dream or be anyone I wanted to be. I would not be standing on the stage without her. Dr. Chaco has taught me how to be a more curious and confident woman, well-rounded researcher and empathetic person. She has changed my life. Thank you to Argia and Dr. Beater, who has, through multiple classes, been an integral part of sparking my curiosity and desire to learn about history, where we come from, what makes us who we are, and also for introducing me to Calimochos in the Basque Country. Thank you to Dr. Woods for a transformative experience in UF 100 and the opportunity to study life, death, and meaning at Oxford. Thank you to the Honors College staff who have pushed me, encouraged me, and made me feel important and valued. Thank you to the communities I have gotten to work with and alongside. Thank you to my mom, my dad, and my brother. My mom and dad are the best people that I know. They are my cheerleaders, my advocates, and genuinely my heroes. And lastly, thank you to my friends, my mentors, and my bandmates for being there every step of the way over the last 3 years. We are who we are because of the people that love us. Thank you.
I was connected with Hannya because Dr. Amy Spurlock went into the research class with undergraduate nursing students and asked if anyone was interested in doing research. And Hannya met with Dr. Spurlock and connected her to me to join our research team. My program of research is hospice and palliative care. She had no desire to do anything in hospice and palliative care. She wants to be an ICU nurse. At the end, I kind of said, I'm sad that you're not going into hospice and palliative care. And she looked at me and she said, but I'm taking everything that I learned from you in hospice and palliative care and I'm bringing it to the ICU. And every good ICU nurse should know that. What I admire the most about Hannya is the way that she just jumps in with 2 feet. The word I like to use is unflappable. She might be nervous on the inside, but she certainly doesn't show it on the outside. I had a fun moment with her before we went on stage in Orlando. We're going right after the keynote. There are hundreds of people in the audience. And we get up there on the stage and she was completely comfortable. I mean, she was more poised than I was. I mean, she just delivered beautifully. Afterwards, we're sitting in the lobby and people came up to us and they asked her, oh, you did a great job. And they asked her questions about her research. And everyone had a visible reaction when they found out that she wasn't a master's or a doctoral student. So, I mean, she's very driven, very poised. She's the first nursing graduate in 10 years who got top 10 scholars. I'm most proud of her for the fact that while she's a rock star student, that she also is kind and compassionate, and that the things in her world shape who she will be as a nurse.
I have my tissues ready. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. To my family, friends, and the faculty who have truly become family, thank you. I stand here today because of the community that never let me do anything less than my best. That starts with Dr. Kate Doyen. Thank you for being the kind of mentor who saw something in me before I saw it in myself, and for helping me grow a passion for research that I'll carry with me into my career. Eddie, you represent the heart of what it means to be a Bronco. Your support through the nursing program didn't just help me survive, but it helped me thrive. And Dr. Woods, thank you for always letting me come into your office, talk about anything, go on a life-changing trip abroad, and honestly, just letting me be myself, even when that meant me talking a little too much in class. People often ask me why I chose nursing. The answer is simple. I wanted to care for patients who are just like my parents. I grew up watching my parents, Sarah and Mario Ornelas, navigate a country where they didn't speak the language and they didn't know the system. I watched them build a life from nothing with resilience. I can't fully put into words, but I also saw how hard it can be to exist in a space that wasn't built for them. Mamá y papá, muchas gracias por todo su amor, cariño, y su apoyo. Everything I am is because of you. Nursing to me is more than just a career. It's how I honor their sacrifices. It's how I show up for people who feel unheard, unseen, or unsure. It's how I become the kind of person I wish my family always had access to. But getting there wasn't easy. When I came to Boise State, I honestly didn't think I would get into nursing school, study abroad in the University of Oxford. That wasn't even my radar. There were so many moments where I doubted myself, times I walked into offices or called home feeling overwhelmed and unsure if I could push through. But what I learned here is that you don't have to believe in yourself all the time. Sydney, your energy and encouragement always came at the exact right time. Emily and Dave Jones, your mentorship and the way you show up for others gave me something to look up to. To my sister, my partner Tyler, My second parents, Jenny and Justin, thank you for holding me up when I couldn't do it on my own. You all taught me that growth doesn't come from having everything figured out. It comes from showing up even when you're unsure. And that's the biggest lesson Boise State gave me. You don't have to believe in yourself all the time, because if you're surrounded by the right people, they'll believe in you until you're ready to believe in yourself. Sorry, I'm a crybaby. And eventually that belief becomes something you carry on your own. That's what Boise State gave me. I am so incredibly proud to stand here today and represent students like me. First generation driven, and maybe a little surprised to be up here. But more than anything, I'm proud of who I've become because of this place. Boise is my home. It's where I found my people, my purpose, and a version of myself I didn't know existed. Eddie and Kate, I hope one day I can be just like you, someone who comes back and helps shape the next generation of nurses. As I step into this next chapter as a nurse and alumni, I carry those lessons with me. And I hope to be the kind of nurse who shows up for others the same way so many of you have shown up for me. Boise State, thank you for giving me a life I never expected, but now can't imagine living without. I will proudly bleed blue and orange for the rest of my life. Go Broncos.
So I met Megan in January 2025. She definitely does not come across as the strong presence that she is. She is a go-getter. She is that strong fist and a velvet glove. Like, you don't know how strong she is. She has humility, and she genuinely cares, and that's why she's in this field. I reached out to a couple of her peers and said, what would you say about Megan? And they said, oh, you definitely have to emphasize how much she cares. She's the whole package. She's smart. She's witty. She's compassionate. She wants to give. She's a brave, compassionate leader. She's making a difference among her peers, among the community, for the university. She really wants to make this a kinder, more just society. And I believe in her. She is going places, and she is going to make Boise State very proud. Megan, I am so profoundly proud of the manner in which you are representing the field of social work. You are the future of our amazing profession. There is no greater gift possible, no greater hope for a long-term seasoned social worker like me. And I cannot tell you how honored I've been to have been your professor and your mentor.
Hi. So being named a top 10 scholar honestly feels a little bit surreal. This wasn't really something I ever pictured for myself, especially as a first-gen college student. For a long time, my goal was just to make it to graduation, so to be standing here now means more than I can fully put into words. When I think about my time here, it really does feel like a journey. It's been challenging and sometimes, well, a lot of the time, very overwhelming, but also incredibly meaningful. I've met some of the most important people of my life here on this campus. People who've supported me, challenged me, and grown alongside of me. People who, and if you know me at all, you know how big of a deal this is, I would trust to watch my cat Bogus when my fiance and I go on a trip. Over the past 3 years, I've grown in ways I've never expected. One of my best friends and I recently looked at pictures from when we were freshmen, and all we could think about was how young we looked, even if it wasn't even 3 years ago. And somehow, between the late nights, the stress, and the laughter, we've grown into ourselves, into people that we're proud of. During my time here, I've also had the opportunity to really step into my role as a leader and advocate. I started a club called Generation Action, and it was one of the most challenging and rewarding things I've ever done. It pushed me out of my comfort zone in every way, from presenting in so many classes to recruit members that I've lost count, to organizing events and building something from the ground up, while balancing school, my internship, work, and everything else. I'm incredibly proud of what that organization has become and what it will continue to do in the future. My internship experience has also played a huge role in shaping me. Through my work, I've been able to connect with individuals, support them in meaningful ways, and better understand what it truly means to be a social worker. It's one thing to learn it in a classroom, but it's another thing to put it in practice and show up for people in real life. None of this would have been possible without the people who supported me along the way. I've been incredibly lucky to learn from my mentors who believed in me, challenged me, and pushed me to be better. To Fern Brandt, Diane Hakes, and Heather Witt, thank you. You all saw potential in me when I didn't fully see it in myself. Your guidance has shaped not only the kind of student I am, but the kind of social worker I hope to become. Being named a top 10 scholar has given me something I haven't always allowed myself before, the chance to pause and feel proud. For a long time, success was just something I had to do. There wasn't really another option, so I didn't always take the time to recognize how much work it took to get here. This recognition has reminded me that it's okay to celebrate those accomplishments and to acknowledge how far I've come. Looking ahead, I'm excited and slightly terrified to continue my journey here at Boise State as I pursue my master's in social work. I hope to continue working with vulnerable populations, engaging in advocacy, and finding ways to make impact, whether that's through direct practice or policy work. Social work is such a diverse and powerful field, and I'm excited to keep learning, growing, and finding where I can do the most good. Finally, I want to thank my friends, my fiance, my aunt, and my sisters for supporting me at every step of this journey, and for my cohort as well. I would truly not be here without all of you guys. Thank you.
I met Allie when she was a freshman at Boise State. She was selected as an Alumni Legacy Scholar, which is one of the most competitive scholarships, full tuition scholarships to earn at Boise State. The thing that I first thought when I met Allie is Allie's not someone that meets expectations. She consistently is exceeding them. And that has proven to be true ever since the day that I met her. The thing that I admire about Allie is she doesn't just participate in communities, she builds them. She's a passionate individual and doesn't want to rob herself of being able to contribute in the things that she cares about. Allie's the kind of student that every institution hopes for and every community benefits from. I can easily rattle off how proud of her I am of all of her accomplishments and the things that she's done in the College of Business and Economics, the things that she's done in the College of Engineering, the things that she's done in Student Philanthropy Board. She's literally made this campus safer because she raised her hand and said, we need to make a difference. Knowing that there's 20 new AEDs across this campus that will save students' lives and staff's lives and community members' lives is nothing short of incredible. It's things that people talk about, but it's things that people don't actually put into action. She's incredibly prepared. She's disciplined. She has vision, but she also brings great pride to being a Meridian, Idaho hometown girl. So I think not only Boise State can be proud of her, but the state of Idaho should be incredibly proud of the types of students that they're producing. When I see the blue turf, you think of blue turf thinking, but I also think of what makes the blue turf so special is the types of graduates and students that come out of it. And when I see that turf, I think of students like Allie. And I'm so grateful that Boise State gets to hang their hat on knowing that she's a Bronco, because I don't think there's any greater compliment than calling Allie Russell a Boise State alumni.
Thank you, Sydney. I'm already tearing up. Oh my goodness. When people ask me what I'm going to do after graduation, the simple answer is I'm going to be a structural engineer. But the truth is, that's only part of the story, because I didn't come to Boise State just to become an engineer. I came here to be so much more. I came here to learn how to lead people, to become a better businesswoman and entrepreneur, a better friend, and someone who can greatly make an impact on the world around me. And in a way, that journey started long before I ever stepped foot on campus as a student. I grew up here in Boise. I was that little girl sitting in the stands at the Boise State football games with my dad, looking out at the blue field, not really understanding everything that was happening on it, but knowing it meant something, knowing it was special. I can see where we sit from right here, so pretty special. Back then, I never could have imagined that one day I'd be standing here. But I think that's kind of the point. Because one of the biggest things this life has taught me is that you should never judge a book by its cover, including your own. You never know what someone else is going through. You never know what they've overcome, and you definitely never know what they're capable of becoming. Over the last 4 years, I've been challenged in ways I didn't expect. But more importantly, I've been changed by things that mattered most. One of those things was realizing how quickly everything can change and how important it is to be ready when it does. I've always felt like, as a big sister, it's my job to protect the people around me. And at some point, I realized that protection can look like more than just being there. It can mean knowing what to do when it really matters. That's where the inspiration for Bronco Heart Day began. When Sydney asked me the day before my freshman year if I wanted to help kick off the Student Philanthropy Board here at Boise State, I knew I had found something bigger than just getting involved. This was my chance to make an impact. And for me, that meant focusing on something deeply personal, making this campus a safer place. Because in an emergency, it's not about titles or experience, it's about whether someone nearby knows what to do. So, with the help of so many great minds, leaders, and supporters here at Boise State, we work to make CPR and AED awareness more accessible on campus. We helped bring more AEDs to campus and created opportunities for students and staff to learn skills that could genuinely save a life. But what stuck with me the most wasn't just the initiative. It was realizing that impact doesn't have to be complicated. It just takes someone willing to step up and speak up about what they believe is important. So I'd be missing an opportunity if I didn't say this. Take this as your sign to get CPR certified and start noticing those AEDs around you. Looking back on my experience at Boise State, it has reshaped how I see leadership and what it means to be recognized like this. I learned that success isn't just about what you accomplish, it's about who you become along the way. This is something I will carry with me far beyond my time at Boise State. There are so many people who helped me become the person I am today, and those are the people who truly deserve the recognition. To my mom, thank you for being the one person who has been there for me no matter what. Your constant support, love, and belief in me have carried me through every high and low. To my dad, thank you for showing me what hard work truly looks like. The example you set has shaped the way I approach everything I do. To my brother, thank you for setting the bar high, keeping me grounded, and always pushing me to be better. And to my sisters, AC and Charlie, my best friends, being your big sister is the role I take the most pride in. You inspire me to be better every day, and I hope I'm setting an example that you're proud of. And to Sydney, thank you for not judging the book by its cover, but for taking the time to open it, read it, believe in the story when I was still learning how to write it myself. And to everyone else who's been part of my story, thank you for shaping me, supporting me, and believing in me along the way. I truly have the best friends and family a girl could ask for. I feel so lucky. As I look toward the future, I'm excited to step into a career in structural engineering and entrepreneurship. But more than that, I'm excited to continue growing into someone who leads with intention, works hard, and ultimately serves others. Because at the end of the day, I don't just want to be an engineer. I want to be someone who makes people feel seen, someone who creates opportunities for others, someone who leaves things better than she found them. Boise State has given me more than an education. It's given me the confidence to become that person. And while it may just be one chapter in my story, it's one that I will carry with me for the rest of my life. I will always be proud to say I bleed blue. Thank you for this incredible honor. I feel so grateful.
I don't know how you even follow that up. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Arya. I'm the CEO of the foundation, and I am so humbled. And I don't know, honestly, how you even follow any of that up. I've been sitting here taking notes throughout the night, and I am very thankful to be up here on Thankful Thursday because it is an honor to be here with all of these amazing scholars that are truly leaving Boise State better than they found it. but I'm also struck by the thread that was weaved through the speeches tonight of courage, love, growth, kindness, and showing up. And so then I'm also like, I don't think I've seen this room this full. I've talked about how I've been to this event 10 times, like Jeremiah said. He's seen 100 top 10 scholars. I believe I've seen 100 top 10 scholars as well. I've never seen this room this full. And so I am struck by all of the family, the friends, the faculty, and the donors that have gotten these top 10 scholars here tonight. So let's give a round of applause to all of you. So, I mean, honestly, there's nothing I can say here that's going to mean anything after all of those wonderful things. So I just want to say thank you to our scholars for sharing so much of yourselves with us tonight, for sharing what you have done here for the university over your years. You have worked so hard and so worthy of being named a top 10 scholar. In the words of one of Maci, who made me cry, we are who we are because of the people who love us. On that note, thank you all. Congratulations to all of our top 10 scholars. Thank you all for everything you have done for Boise State on the eve of your graduation. Congratulations and go Broncos. Yeah, sorry, I have one more cue. Scholars, if you'll please come up and take some photos up here with us. And then again, sorry, one more round of applause for our top 10 scholars. That's it. That's it. All right.